Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Otaku Heaven coming at you with another manga chapter review. I'm restarting my manga chapter reviews for One Piece, and I was going to start with 797 since I was already late about 2 days, so I decided not to do that because I got bored and I figured I wanted to make a video. Anyhow, we start off with Fujitora rolling the dice to gamble to see whether or not he would go after the Straw Hats or not, giving them the benefit of the doubt since they indeed did save the country. And Otsuro and Sengoku soon arrive after that. And Otsuro is like, why haven't you went after the Straw Hat Law Alliance yet? He said, fortune has favored them and you cannot ignore the dice. And then Sengoku busts out laughing because, he's got tenure. He can do that type of stuff just like Luffy's father. Garp, he can laugh and be careless about stuff like that, especially since he's no longer the fleet admiral. If he were the fleet admiral, things might have went a little bit different. But anyway, after that, we get to a snippet of King Riku taking the throne and what his plans are for the throne. He plans on later on giving the throne to Rebecca, which some anime reviewers have already said was a bad thing. They don't think it's going to be really good. I think given enough time, Rebecca can be an awesome queen because with enough time, she mastered the sword with enough skill that she could defend herself without attacking against some of the fiercest warriors. So if she can master a sword that well, she can master becoming a queen. There's no doubt about that. Even though most people don't like her, I think with enough time it could be a great idea. She would become a great queen of Dressrosa. And with her past history, she's probably not going to make any kind of life-threatening move to the country. So I think she'll be alright. Moving on, we don't really have any character advancement for Bartolomeo. Hopefully, after seeing the Straw Hats enough times, then he'll drop his little goo goo gaga at least a little bit for the Straw Hats. But he was basically blinded by the Straw Hats' glory, the five that are still there on the island. Anyway, he came to let them know that the Navy was on the move. Otsuro and Sengoku had landed, and that they were on their way. And then Kanjiro, we actually got a little bit of dialogue out of him this time. He's actually a bit surprised that it took them this long to go, which I was myself, but it matches Fujitora's style of doing things because he's a gambler, very good at it, so he would follow what his gambling instincts tell him, which is not to go after the Straw Hats during the 2 days that they were resting up after saving the country, which was probably not a good idea on his part, but it was a bit of a reward for them actually saving the country, which some people might consider a cop out, but I think it follows his personality just fine, so I think it's perfectly fine for that to happen that way. Anyway, we move on to Cavendish and Bartolomeo. Basically, Bartolomeo let them know that the Navy was coming, and then we got to see a snippet of Cavendish saying that we have the ship ready for you and all your friends to escape, which I think Cavendish and Bartolomeo will be going with him, and Bartolomeo still has that, goo goo gaga over the Straw Hat crew, so I'm not so sure he's going to be joining right now. I think he is, but I more or less think Cavendish is because Cavendish was ready to go. He had everything set up. That's the type of person you need in a crew to be the best. And it matches Cavendish's dream to become extremely famous. Now, he could later on develop his dream to become the most famous in the world, which would obviously be overshadowed by Luffy, so he couldn't achieve it, but he could get pretty close, and that's where he would get all his fame out on the Straw Hat ship, as I said in the video I posted earlier this week. And he said the ship was in the eastern port and that everybody should leave now, basically. So you get a snippet of everyone running away, bullets firing from the Marines, and slightly before that, we got Lost that Law saved Bellamy. He said, I brought you back because he claimed to be one of Straw Hat's friends. And Bellamy's like, well, now that I'm survived and Doflamingo's down, there's no reason for me to stay here and get killed by the Navy, so let me come with you. So right now we have Bellamy leaving with Luffy, which could actually signify that Bellamy is closer to joining the crew than I originally thought. People had brought him up before, but I always dismissed it because I didn't think Bellamy would be Straw Hat material. He kind of seems like it, but not really. He just don't match to me. And then we follow on with some very interesting developments because now that Isho has popped up, he gets his little sword stance where he's about to draw his sword, and Luffy stops and punches his fist together and is like, I have something to finish, you guys go ahead. So what exactly will Luffy do? That's kind of hard to say because you have Otsuru already there, and you have um, Isho, and you have Sengoku, which I really don't think Sengoku is going to fight. I think he's there to just spectate and laugh about shit. But um, I do think that Luffy may wind up having some sort of fight at least, or some kind of words with not Sengoku, but Fujitora, because I think Fujitora has something to settle with him. I don't know what, but Luffy's got something that he wants to say to one of them that's there. Could be Osuru though, because Osuru has been on his tail for a long time. But I don't think really Luffy really knew about that. Luffy knows about Fujitora and his whole quarrel with Zoro and everybody, and Law too. So plus he also supported Doflamingo when Doflamingo was chasing Luffy. So that's another reason. Luffy has plenty of reasons to go after Fujitora, but he has not really any reasons to go after Otsuru, as far as we know, unless some developments happen that we don't know about yet. Overall, I'll give this chapter an 8 out of 10 because we had a lot of plot progression. We had no character progression whatsoever, so there's that. And that didn't really seem like filler. I enjoyed it, but there wasn't anything to say hook you and say, hey, let's go. But that's because the fights are over and they're wrapping up the arc. So you're not going to get no badass chapter right now like we got last chapter. And I think that we'll be seeing a lot more of Sanji and his side before we come back to whatever's going on right here. So the next chapter I think is going to be more about what's going on with Sanji until that finishes. When Sanji's things wraps up, well, Sanji and Brook and Nami, once that thing wraps up, I think we'll finish seeing and then see who joins the crew then. Which I still think is going to be Cavendish and potentially Bartolomeo, even though it went down a little bit after this chapter. But I think Cavendish is a shoe-in for the crew. And that's my thoughts on it, guys. Peace.